All right, let's talk about something that, let's be honest, most business owners dread: compliance training. We're going to flip the script on it today. We're going to take it from being just another boring line item expense and show you what it really is: strategic armor for your business. So, yeah, let's dive right in.
So let me start by asking you a question, and it might sound a little weird at first. Is your biggest business risk hiding in plain sight, right there on your tax return? It's a question that gets right to the heart of a very common and really dangerous business blind spot.
To see what I mean, let's picture a scene that a lot of small business owners know all too well. You're in a tense meeting, maybe with your accountant, and you're staring at the numbers, just trying to make it all work. It feels less like a balance sheet and more like a tightrope, right? And then comes this question. The accountant, we'll call him Pete, looks at the business owner, we'll call him John, and asks this. Now, it seems like a simple throwaway question, but John's answer, well, it changes everything. And of course, John's answer was no. I mean, cash flow was super tight, so he did what pretty much any of us would do. He started cutting things that seemed like nice to haves, things like HR training or data privacy refreshers. On the surface, it makes perfect sense. But as we're about to see, it was a dangerously flawed decision. So let's look at the first, most obvious hit: the money. John missed out on a $600 expense that was fully tax deductible. As a business owner, that's a huge deal. That money comes right off your taxable income. It's an advantage you have that regular employees don't. He literally just left money on the table. But honestly, that's the smallest part of this story. Yeah, that missed tax deduction, that was just the tip of the iceberg. Pete, the accountant, he immediately shifts the conversation from that small amount of money John lost to the massive, terrifying risk he was now carrying without even knowing it. And to really drive the point home, Pete tells John this story about another client of his, a design firm. They made the exact same call. They figured they'd save a few bucks by skipping the mandatory anti-harassment training for their new managers. And this was the result. That firm got hit with a $25,000 settlement. Why? Because an untrained manager totally botched an employee complaint, and it just spiraled into a hostile work environment claim. Now, for John's business, which was barely breaking even, a hit like that isn't a setback. It's game over. And this is so important to understand. The danger isn't just one lawsuit. It's a domino effect. One single compliance slip-up can set off this catastrophic chain reaction. Of course, you've got the legal penalties, which can be crushing, but then comes the damage to your brand, your reputation. Your company culture turns toxic, morale just tanks, and you completely lose the trust you've worked so hard to build with your customers. Any one of those things could kill a business on its own. And when we talk about legal penalties, we are not talking about a slap on the wrist. I mean, the numbers can be absolutely staggering. A willful violation of workplace safety rules, that can get you a fine from OSHA, that's the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, for over $160,000. And if you handle any kind of healthcare data, a HIPAA violation, that's the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, can cost you up to $2 million. These aren't just fines. For a small business, these are extinction-level events. And what about that customer trust we mentioned? Well, get this. A massive 81% of customers already believe that the risks of companies collecting their data outweigh any benefits. Think about that. It means that training your team on data privacy isn't just about avoiding a fine from the government. It's about meeting a fundamental expectation from the people who keep you in business. Okay, so the risk is crystal clear, right? It's huge. So let's shift gears and talk about the solution. How do we build that armor? We're going to break down 10 essential topics that are basically the foundation of any solid compliance program. Okay, layer number 1 of your armor is all about protecting your people. This is your people armor. It's your anti-harassment training, your workplace health and safety rules, and your diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI initiatives. This is the bedrock. It's how you build a workplace that's safe, respectful, and strong. Next up, your data armor. And in today's world, this is completely non-negotiable. We're talking about serious training on data privacy laws like GDPR over in Europe and CCPA in California. Those are kind of the global gold standards. It also means company-wide InfoSec training to prevent breaches, and of course, for a lot of us, specialized HIPAA training for healthcare privacy. And finally, you gotta build your reputation armor. This is all about protecting your business's integrity. These are the rules that keep your operations clean and above board.
Stuff like anti-bribery policies, anti-money laundering or AML training, a clear code of ethics, and more, standards for environmental, social, and governance, what we call ESG.
Now look, having a list of topics is great, but just having the list isn't enough. You can't just throw a bunch of courses at your team and hope for the best. You need to be smarter. You need a strategy. The whole goal here is to train smarter, not just harder. So step 1, you assess your real-world risks. Where are you most vulnerable? Focus there first. Step 2, tailor the training. Your finance team doesn't need the same training as your IT team. Step 3, think about how you deliver it. Forget those day-long seminars. We're talking short, focused videos, microlearning, that people will actually retain. And step 4, and this is crucial, you have to track everything. If an auditor ever comes knocking, you need to be able to prove with data exactly who got trained on what and when. And this brings us right back to where we started. Once you understand the real risks and you put a smart program in place, the entire conversation changes. We stop seeing compliance as just another cost, and we start understanding it for what it truly is, a critical investment in the survival of your business. I mean, just look at this side by side. On one side, you've got the perceived cost, a tiny tax-deductible fee and a little bit of employee time. On the other side, the real cost of getting it wrong, multi-million-dollar fines, business-crippling lawsuits, your brand reputation completely destroyed. This isn't a choice between spending a little and saving a little. It's a choice between a small investment and a catastrophic business-ending event. Which leads us to this. This is the key takeaway. Compliance training is pretty much the only essential business expense that does two incredible things at once. It acts as a critical strategy to reduce your risk, and it's a tax-deductible investment. It literally pays for itself on your tax return while protecting you from your biggest threats. So I'll just leave you with this thought. The next time you're looking at your budget, thinking about what to trim, think back to John and ask yourself, what is the true cost of that training course you're thinking about cutting? Is it really just a few $100s, or could it be everything?